Hey, Adam,
Jeez,
one
why,
thing.
why do you think they're called bumpers, Gary?
I don't know.
Because they come at the beginning, at the end, like bumpers.
Alex, you're a marketing guy. Do you like that design behind Paul? Does that sweet logo thing look pretty cool to you?
Hey, I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah, that's really professional, isn't it?
Well, this is a professional podcast.
I met her in a parking lot and was handed 2 little Yorkies. And the only person I knew that knew Yorkies was Paul. So I called Paul and said, Paul.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SoundCloud and subscribe today. Now it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sweet Talk, our weekly podcast here at Idaho State University's Continuing Education and Workforce Training. I am Paul Dickey, the Apprenticeship Coordinator and Video Instruction Manager here at Sweet. And as always, joining me is our illustrious director, Gary Salazar.
Hey,
Gary,
Paul.
today?
I'm doing great. Illustrious. Sometimes I think that's the wrong way, but I'll take it today because it is a Friday. And we're having a great time as we wind down a very, very busy week.
Busy week.
Oh my
week.
gosh. Yeah. Hey, and for those of you joining the podcast, you'll notice that Angela is not with us today. Angela Wilhelm is our marketing coordinator, and she's having fun up in Canada, trying to hike and camp through Banff National Park and do all sorts of fun things and avoid the bears.
She's doing this thing called a vacation.
Vacation. Yeah. She's gone all week. She doesn't have to put up with us. She'll be back next week, and we'll keep this thing going then. But more importantly, today we have a very special guest. Many of you who follow us out there, you've seen Katie Leishman before. She does a fantastic job here within the College of Technology over in the Center for New Directions. And Katie Leishman is joining us to talk about a very special camp we just had. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a second. But she is, I don't want to forget, the Associate Director for the Center for New Directions. She's also a Success Navigator, and she's a Special Populations Project Coordinator. It is Friday. I'm losing my tongue here. And she's going to be talking to us about Ignite Their Future, a summer camp that was just held here at Idaho State University recently. And she and another guy who helped her put it on, but then took off for Alaska, Ryan Pitcher, they did so much planning to make this thing successful, and it was a great camp. Katie, thank you for joining us. Glad to have you here. Welcome to our podcast. How are you?
I'm great, and I always love joining you on this podcast, so thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to talk about Ignite Their Future. So, we had 2 full weeks of camp earlier this summer. The first week was for middle schoolers. The second week was for high schoolers. All in all, we had 110 students join us on campus during that time, and it was so much fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So
Katie, yeah,
Katie,
you were busy. I'm sorry, Paul.
Yes. Yeah. So Katie, for those who might not know, could you explain what the Ignite the Future camp is?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So Ignite Their Future STEM Summer Camp series began about 5 years ago, and they are camps that we host here on the Pocatello ISU campus for middle school through high school age students. And it's an opportunity for them to spend the week with us, learning in our classrooms and laboratories from our faculty. And so they really get a good glimpse of what it might be like to be a college student. They get to explore some possible career pathways. They get more familiar with ISU, and they get to spend some time of their summer break exploring topics and subjects that are of interest to them.
Oh,
Yeah. It's a fun time, Paul. And you've been there before. You've gone through and videotaped some of the students who participating. It's amazing all the different things they can get into.
Oh, yeah.
And let me go back a second. This thing you said, Katie, it's 5 years in running, and it continues to shine and it's a huge planning effort. I know I've watched some of it, some of the things you go through, the coordination, logistics, the food, the preparation accounts of classrooms, working with all the teachers, getting everybody up to speed and ready to go. That part is immense, and it continues to shine every year. And I think from what I've seen, it's been so successful. And you also have parents coming out as well, don't you?
Yeah, every Friday of the camp, we have a family day. And so guardians, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, siblings, they all get to join their student for about an hour and a half to see what they worked on during the week, what they learned, get to interact with the teachers as well, and then join us for lunch, of course, which it's always a lot of fun to see parents watching their kids and seeing the projects that they worked on during the week. And honestly, Gary, it is a team effort. What we put on every year, it's a full team effort. We have a wonderful committee that helps us. And then of course the staff at Sweet is amazing. And so I've got to give a shout out to Shirley and Penny and Tara and Megan. Paul, of course, helps so much with that. Then Aaron, you, Gary, and Angie, even with the marketing and things like that. So it's a huge team effort and just a lot of fun to work with these great people.
Yeah, thank you for that. And you're right, it is a team. It's a team effort putting all this on, and that's what's kind of cool about many of the projects around the campus that the university has. There's a lot of people chipping in. But you mentioned teams. I mean, there's a team kind of a piece that all the students learn too, because they're doing some projects where they're working together. So it's not just individual learning; they're learning also how to collaborate, how to have fun with other people too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we always do a survey, one for parents on Parent Day, and then another one for students. And so I was just earlier this morning looking through some of the comments, and that was one of the #1 positive feedback comments, was that they got to meet new people, make friends, and work on projects together. And so, it's always fun to see what stands out to those students. And this year, that was one of the main themes that I noticed.
Yeah,
So-
that is cool. Go ahead, Paul.
So, Katie, if I remember this, you kind of break these up into 2 groups. Is that correct? Younger group the first week, and then high school age students the next week.
Yes.
Okay. So, kind of when you have those 2 age dynamics, what is the difference between what type of classes you run for each? Is it similar classes, or do you definitely have deviations from one age group to the other?
One of the great things about the camp is we actually we reach out to K-12 educators as well, and we bring them on. And so we pair them with our college faculty, and they're able to look through the curriculum and make it more age appropriate depending on the age group that we have. We do offer different camps for middle school compared to high school, but we also have a few camps that if you started it out as a middle schooler, and as you're aging into high school, you want to continue learning about that subject, we have that opportunity. So for an example, middle school, we offered an intro to drones camp. And then in high school, we offered a intro to commercialized drones. And so they're taking kind of prior year learning and building on that for the high school camps. And so some of them, it's an opportunity for them to learn a little bit about a subject, and then as a high school student, develop that understanding a little bit more.
So
Yeah.
with that in mind, that means that you must have returning students all the time.
Yeah.
We do. And in fact, as I said, I was looking through the surveys, and I think we had like a 70% of the students that attended this year had attended last year. And then yes. And then
That is remarkable.
It is. It really is. And 98% of the students that attended this year are already trying to think about what camp they want to attend next year. That was another question on there. So I've actually, the great thing is we've done this camp long enough. So in the past 5 years, I've seen some of the students that came to our first year of camp become college students at this point. And so that's been really neat. And yeah, it's amazing. We actually had one student
No, go
that
ahead.
went on to the START program, and now he's in one of our College of Technology programs. He'll be starting this fall.
Well, isn't that kind of the goal of maybe the camp itself, is to ignite these interests that they can then consider pursuing as careers or something they want to do as adults? Is that correct?
100%. It's really disguised as career exploration, right? What we are doing is career exploration. So by offering these camps in a variety of different subjects, students get to choose up to 2, because we have a morning camp and an afternoon camp. So they're getting 2 immersive college career exploration opportunities. And it's a lot of fun to see them kind of blossom. You'll see a student come in and maybe they're a little bit nervous the first day, maybe a little bit timid. By the end of the week, they have best friends. They've got, they're talking with the other students in that program. They're excited to tell even myself about what they did that day. And then, some of the parents in the comments of the survey, they said one of their favorite thing was at the end of each day, hearing what their student did, what they learned, and the fun that they had. And so I think a lot of fun conversations are happening at the end of the day or the end of the week between kids and their parents and the possibilities of their future.
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah. There's so many cool things. Sorry, Paul.
No.
The social aspect just cannot be minimized. You're doing so many things that aren't overt, but they're happening. Kids are connecting. There's maybe shy or timid the first day, and then they begin to make some connections. And then by the time you're done, like you said, they have made other friendships. They have discovered new things. This whole idea of this particular camp is such an exploration and discovery process. It's amazing what you're doing, and the results are awesome there. I love the fact that the parents are just excited to hear what their kids are doing and what they've done there. I can just see some of those conversations. What a cool thing. Are there, Paul, before I finish up, I want to ask her if there were any favorite stories, but go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, now that you've been doing this for 5 years and you have participants that are getting older and older and older, what are the chances that someone who participated may one day be teaching one of these STEM programs?
And that is the ultimate goal, I think, Paul. I love that idea. And I think as we continue with this camp, I would love to see that happen. Again, it's been fun to see some of the students that started with us 5 years ago and now are college students. And ultimately, that's part of what career and technical education is, right? Learning a skill, learning a trade, and going out and doing it, and then coming back and helping the people coming up behind you to learn that skill. So,
I'm spitballing here, but is it a possibility that you could reach out to older participants who, that might want to volunteer to assist in these camps?
great idea. And, typically we hire quite a few students in the summer. We had 2 student workers with us this last year, but maybe that's something we want to look at, especially as more and more of our College of Technology students at one point in time were a part of Ignite Their Future STEM summer camps. So, that would be a lot of fun and an opportunity to continue to advance the camp. So I love that idea. We should do that. Let's put that on the first agenda for our committee meeting when we meet back to start planning ITF 2024.
And that's, so you finished one, and then when do you start working on planning the next one?
We already have. So honestly, when we compile, I know, right? It's an all year round thing. As we compile those surveys, one thing that I'm looking for is what do we want to look at in tweaking for next year? And so I'm a continuous change improvement person. And so we've got a model that's working really, really well and doing a lot of great things, but we want to stay current. We want to, stay up with the times, and we want to continue to improve that. And so I'm always looking through the comments to see what could we do to make this better. And year after year, one of the comments always is, could you do these all summer long?
You look at that.
And we haven't gotten
That sounds
there
tiring.
yet. I know, we haven't gotten there yet. Maybe someday we'll be able to fund a position that could carry these on throughout the year. And I do think that that would be phenomenal to have touch points throughout the year and all summer long that we could provide the community and K-12 students. But
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be fantastic. You mentioned something that also is very important. This just doesn't happen without support. I mean, there are donors out there. We need a lot of help from our community, to help support and pay for some of these things that we're doing. And that is so vital because it's that engagement between the university and the external community working together to develop the educational and discovery processes that we want for our future leaders. So, all right, did you see any new organizations or old organizations that have come in and stand up and say, yes, we want to keep doing this? Are you getting that vibe from others, or are you getting any interest from anybody else?
absolutely, yeah. So 100%, we could not do this camp without supporters. And a lot of our local industry partners see the importance of this camp and the career exploration. And a lot of them hire our graduates. And so that's part of the reason I think that they are excited to help support this. But, I know Idaho National Laboratory has helped supported our camp since the beginning, Idaho Power, as well, the Idaho STEM Action Center, Bayer, Williams, and Simplot. They're all major contributors. We have a couple others as well that have contributed. And Gary, you might have one or two that I missed there. And then we also have a couple of individual supporters that give during the annual ISU giving campaign, and they earmark their money for Ignite Their Future.
Right. There are some local community folks who've donated to this. What comes to mind is like Cole Chevrolet. I think that maybe one of the community banks may have also been participating. It is truly remarkable because a lot of those names keep turning up. They're very strong supporters of ISU and all the work going on here with our students with these summer camps. That's such a pleasure to see. But I think they see the value in it, Katie, and they see the successes that are coming out of this. So they're very, 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 very willing, very interested in donating. We want to continue that trend as well. And as you say, if this thing continues to grow the way it seems to be going, and you do it all summer, we're going to need to find even more people who want to jump in and help us push this. What a tremendous, tremendous project. I meant to ask before, are there any favorite moments from this last camp that you saw? I mean, you were everywhere, checking on things. Did anything stand out to you as a memorable moment that we could share?
Man, there's so much fun that had happened. Trying to think, I really enjoyed personally, our middle school camp did intro to health occupations, and they got some phenomenal hands-on experience with instructors. And I think one of the fun things was to see the students pass their CPR certification. And that was really fun. And it's a real credential, right? It's a real certification that these students get to have at the end of the week. And so that was really fun. That same camp, they do, it's called a relay race with wheelchairs out on Cadet Field. And parents get to be involved because that's Parent Day. And so one of my favorite moments was seeing one of the students pushing their dad in the wheelchair across Cadet Field. And then they have to work on the dummy who's all the way on the other side of Cadet Field. And they have to follow this set of instructions that Robin gives them. And then they have to hurry and race their parent back to the other side. So is what they're doing. They use the wheelchair as the ambulance. And so they're kind of like the EMT person. They're getting the ambulance there. They're going through a process, and they're getting the patient back to the hospital. But it's always, that one's a lot of fun and very creative. And of course, that's the same day that the helo lands out on Cadet Field. And so hearing and watching that land and take off and seeing the students have the opportunity to get inside that helicopter and ask questions. That's a lot of fun. Another one I would say is for high school students, the intro to machining. They all got to make their own specialized nameplate. And so it was really fun getting to see the machines working on these, the 5-axis and all of the different computerized machining happening up there. And then some of the students were just so proud of the artwork and how they had designed their nameplate. And I came through and they were showing, and they were just very, very proud of what they had done. And so that was another really fun moment.
Oh yeah, some good things in there. Hey, I'm sorry to rush you. The alarm or the timer did go off, but before we do close this out, Katie, if somebody wanted to learn more about Ignite Their Future, or if they just wanted to talk to somebody about that, is there a best way for them to find out that information or talk to somebody that you could share?
Yeah, I would love to have a conversation. Anybody could call or shoot me an email. I know Ryan Pitcher is also open to discussing ideas with anybody as well. But you can reach me. My office number is 208-282-3363. And my ISU email address is just katieleishman@isu.edu.
Great, that's super. And I so appreciate all the work you do, but then making yourselves available for those questions, and sometimes we'll get them in suite, and so we know how to reach out to you as well. But thank you, Katie, for all you've done. Thank you for the phenomenal amount of work to continue this fantastic program. The benefits are we don't see all the benefits, but they are immeasurable and they help so many people out there. So thank you for all of that and for being a part of this podcast to talk about it. Paul, hey man, I'm sorry, but we're at the end. We need to start
At the
closing
end.
this thing up. We've been talking with Katie Leishman, who works in the Center for New Directions. She is the let me go back into Associate Director of Center New Directions. She's also our Success Navigator up there and Special Populations Project Coordinator. She's a phenomenal guest. We've had her on a number of times, and each time it's always a pleasure to learn more about the projects and the work that she's doing. Katie, thank you for joining us. Paul, I'll let you finish us out.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie, for being with us today. It's
And thank
always
you for
great to have
having
you.
me. I always enjoy my time with you. So thank you
Cool.
very much.
I remember when you used to be really nervous about coming on.
Yeah,
You're
she's
pro
a
now.
pro
You're a
now,
pro.
yeah.
So if anyone would like to check out our offerings, they can visit our website at cetrain.isu.edu, or you can give us an email at cetrain@isu.edu, or call us at 208-282-3372. And if you enjoy this podcast, please like, share, subscribe. We really appreciate it. It helps us get our community message out further and just helps our engagement. Thank you so much, and be safe out there.